The richest family in America doesn't live in a Manhattan penthouse. They don't buy super yachts. They don't headline the tabloids. They built the world's largest empire from a five and dime store in Arkansas. And they did it so quietly, most people still don't know their names. This is the story of how the Waltons mastered not just retail dominance, but the architecture of generational wealth. Quiet money moves differently. Sam Walton didn't set out to become a billionaire. He was born in 1918 in Kingfisher, Oklahoma, just as America fell into the Great Depression. He milked cows, delivered newspapers, sold magazine subscriptions door to door. Long before everyday low prices became a slogan, it was survival. In 1962, he opened a single store in Rogers, Arkansas. He called it Walmart. His goal: make life better for ordinary families by selling more for less. Competitors laughed. Big brands said his pricing model would fail. But Sam believed in scale, efficiency, and ownership, and most of all, he believed in people. He shared stock with employees, called them associates, and he made them part of the mission. By the time he died in 1992, Walmart was the largest retailer on earth. But Sam's greatest decision wasn't business, it was what he did behind the scenes. Almost 40 years earlier, in 1953, nearly a decade before Walmart existed, Sam Walton made the single most important decision of his financial life. He didn't hire a fancy banker or set up a complex offshore trust. He took advice from his father-in-law, and he created a simple family partnership. Sam and his wife, Helen, each held 10%. Their 4 children, Rob, John, Jim, and Alice, held the rest, 20% each. The best way to reduce estate taxes, he later wrote, is to give your assets away before they appreciate. That early transfer, when Walmart was still just a dream, let the family sidestep billions in future estate tax. But it did something else too. It locked in family control. No public fights, no boardroom takeovers, just a unified structure. That partnership became Walton Enterprises, the largest family office in the world. Today, it still controls nearly half of Walmart, and it distributes billions in dividends every single year, all because of a quiet legal move made 4 decades too early to be noticed. Quiet empires don't run on spreadsheets alone. They run on governance. Sam Walton didn't just pass on wealth. He passed on structure. Walton Enterprises isn't just a holding company. It's a control system. At the top, a board of directors. They oversee strategic investments, philanthropy, and succession. Below that, a family council, and egos small. The Waltons also follow guiding principles, not legal documents, but internal values: humility, stewardship, long-term alignment. They hold regular family meetings, not to decide strategy, but to stay connected. While other dynasties fracture under pressure, the Waltons plan 3 generations ahead. They don't just preserve wealth, they preserve agreement. After the partnership came the planning: trusts, dividends, long-term tax arbitrage. The Waltons didn't just preserve wealth, they grew it tax efficiently, across generations. One of their favorite tools, the charitable lead trust, or CLT, sometimes called the Jackie O Trust. Here's how it works. You fund a trust. For a set number of years, it pays income to charities. Then, when time's up, the remaining assets pass to your heirs. Tax-free. It's perfectly legal and perfectly quiet. Reports estimate the Waltons saved over $3 billion in estate tax using CLTs alone. They also use GRATs, grant or retained annuity trusts, and family-limited partnerships to move assets below the IRS radar. Even the Treasury took notice. But this strategy came with something else, a philanthropic narrative. In 1987, they launched the Walton Family Foundation. It now gives over $400 million a year to education, conservation, and local causes. The message is simple. We're not just saving taxes, we're giving back. Critics call it image laundering. The family calls it legacy. Either way, the strategy works. The Waltons don't own a sports team. They don't live in Silicon Valley. Most Americans couldn't pick them out of a crowd. And that's exactly the point. Because what they built isn't just a fortune. It's a system, a private architecture for public power, one that lets them control $240 billion without ever having to explain it. Quiet money. Today, the third generation is stepping in. Stuart Walton sits on the Walmart board. Others manage private family offices, investments, even museums. Each branch, independent, but aligned, and still, no scandals, no chaos, just dividends, governance, control. Most dynasties make headlines. The Waltons made a blueprint, one that starts with a quiet decision and ends with the largest private fortune in American history.